Hi there, welcome to GrainTV. It's Friday, October 9th. USDA gave us some fresh data on the supply and demand side. But before we get to that, let's see where the market closed. Soybeans were up 4 cents a bushel, closing at $8.85, while corn and wheat closed to the downside. Corn leading to the downside with a 9-cent loss around $3.82 on the close, and wheat in Chicago at $5.09 with a 2-cent loss. Let's take a look at some of these fresh supply and demand data. Most important today was what the USDA said about production. Analysts had been looking for a slight revision lower for both corn and beans today. We got it in the case of beans, but not so much in the case of corn. Corn came in at 13.55 billion bushels versus expectations of 13.504. So not dramatically different than expectations, but a little bit higher than what we had going into the report. Beans came in on the low side, coming in below expectations, which was a bit surprising because we've been hearing such good yield reports out of the fields, not only in states like Illinois and Indiana where we didn't expect it, but again in Iowa. We're just continue to see and hear about record yields for some of these farmers that are cutting beans right now. So I think the market, for the most part, discounted these numbers pretty quickly. We did trade a little bit as a result of this data around that 11 a.m. Central Time release, but overall it was not a big market changer here. Let's take a look at soybeans in particular, where we traded through the day on a 5-minute bar chart. And this comes from our Grain Hedge trading platform. You can get this live on your desktop or on your mobile phone if you want. And right now what we're looking at is the 5-minute soybean chart. You can see the big green bar there in the middle, right around 11 o'clock Central Time, where we got the immediate reaction to it. We carried higher for the better part of an hour, peaking at about a 14-cent advance on the day. But the last hour of trading just really sort of disappointed in terms of volume and follow through, and so we ended up a little bit lower than the high of the day. To me, this is a market that is still struggling to find direction. If we look at the daily chart on beans, today's bar did nothing to really change the overall flat to sideways trend. We are trading between $8.55 on the downside and $9 on the upside. We're still at the upper end of that range, so there's a chance we might try and break through that next week when we get back to trading. But these supply-demand numbers were not that encouraging either way to break this sort of long-term trend that's been very flat. One of the things that I thought that was a bit surprising out of this USDA report was the fact that they left corn exports unchanged, and that's a bit surprising because we know we are struggling with our corn export pace. They did indeed cut the soybean export pace for the U.S. by 50 million bushels, and quite contrary to what I think most people thought, is they should have cut corn and left soybeans unchanged. So that was a bit of a balance sheet question mark there by most people after seeing those reports. Other news that came out today, we had Egypt announce the results of their wheat tender. They basically did all the business with Romania and Russia. U.S. again was shut out of any sort of deal there. So that was nothing to lift the wheat market up. Overall, I think this market continues to be somewhat directionless as we're in the midst of harvest. Traders are mostly looking for revised higher supply numbers as we get further along in the harvest season. So I'm not sure this market has any strong bias to one side or the other, either up or down. If you're a farmer with unpriced grain, there might still be some downside risk here. If you're worried about that, give us a call at the office, Grain Hedge, and call us 877-472-4607. Other than that, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week on GrainTV.